Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, thanks for stopping by. My name is Tolly. On this channel I share lots of content all around how to live your best life on a budget. In today's video guys, what I'm going to be doing is a budget recap of my April 2021 budget. Now guys, I have to be honest with you, I've already recorded this video before and there was an issue with the audio, so the video was a mess and I couldn't use it. Like there was literally no sound coming from the video, so there was no way I could upload it onto YouTube unless you want to be trying to lip sync and read what I'm saying. So very annoyed about that, very annoyed, but that's what happens sometimes with YouTube. It gets like that at times and you just kind of have to roll with the punches. So here I am recording the video for a second time, and not only did I record one video, I recorded two videos in that same sitting. So both videos the audio was off and I'm having to record them both again. So this is the April 2021 budget recap, and then after this video, the next video that's going to be coming out is going to be my May budget walkthrough video, which I'm going to have to record again as well. So yeah, it's not been great. And on top of that, actually, you may or may not have noticed that I haven't uploaded in like nearly 2 weeks, and for me that's a long time, given that I'm usually uploading like 2 to 3 times a week. And that's because I was really poorly towards the end of April, so my voice was gone and I couldn't record any videos with no voice. Like I even had to cancel Team Money Talks last week because of the same thing, because I had no voice, I couldn't record the episode. So yeah, definitely one thing I've learned from the last week of being unwell is that you can't take your health for granted, because when your body's not working, there's literally nothing you can do. And I was literally forced to grind to a halt. Like I was on standstill, I couldn't do anything but wait for my body to recover. But thankfully I'm feeling much better now, and it's just so annoying that when I was finally feeling better, I was like, let me sit down and record those 2 videos, only for them to be a flop and I'm having to re-record them again. But yeah, these are the things that happen sometimes when it comes to creating content. So lesson that I learned with that incident is that you should always check the audio when you're about to record. So before recording the retake that I'm doing now, I did a sound check to make sure the mics were working and everything was working fine, and fingers crossed it worked fine. So hopefully when it comes to editing, there's going to be no more crazy surprises like I had a few days ago. But anyway, that's enough of my ranting and rambling over. I'm going to jump right into my budget. In fact, but what I do want to say guys before I jump into the numbers is that April was a mess. Like in terms of my spending, it was a hot mess. I have to put my hands up. Things didn't go according to plan, and I definitely overspent in a lot of my budget categories, which you're going to see when I jump into the numbers. But I was like, no, let me tell you about it first before I open the spreadsheet and you see the numbers and you're like, oh my gosh, Tolly, what was you doing in April? I'm letting you know now that yeah, it didn't go according to plan, and I did overspend in quite a few areas, but it is what it is. I have a plan of action as to how I'm going to combat this in the month of May, and I'll talk about that a lot more towards the end of the video, so definitely stay tuned for that. And if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, then you're definitely going to want to subscribe to my channel, because I do these budget videos on a regular basis and I share lots of content all around my personal finance journey and my journey to financial freedom. If you want to see my May 2021 budget walkthrough video, which is going to be coming out soon, then subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss the notification when that video comes out, and you can watch it and see how I'm planning to fix the mess that I made in April in the month of May. To be honest, that was quite a long-winded introduction, but with that being said, I'm now going to jump into my April 2021 budget, and I'm going to show you exactly what went on when it came to my spending for the month. Okay, so if we start off with the opening balance, and you can see that the opening balance was minus £114.8p. That was because of an overspend in the month of April. So when we overspent in the month of March, that money basically gets deducted from the money that's available in the month of April, which is why the opening balance is negative. So what we do is we take that negative opening balance and deduct it from our income, and then that's what gives us the total, which is then the money that we allocate to our different spending categories. Now you'll see of course that we've blocked out the totals, and that's just because at the moment we're not comfortable disclosing our actual incomes on the internet. That may change as time goes on. Stay subscribed and you may find that out at a later date, but for now we've kept that private. But moving on in terms of the expenses for the month, what we said was going to happen versus what actually happened. So starting off with the food category, and we look at groceries. So groceries, I set myself a budget of £200, and as you can see, it did not go according to plan. I overspent by £88.45. So yeah, that was a 44% overspend on our part when it came to groceries. Now I know what you're probably thinking, like £200 grocery budget is very low anyway, and to spend under £300 for a family of 5 is actually not that bad in the grander scheme of things. In fact, it's quite decent, to be honest. Like when I ask people how much they spend on their groceries, on average most people spend £300 to £400 a month for a family my size. So to come in under the £300, to me that's a result, but at the same time it's way over the £200 which I had allocated. So you may be thinking, why don't you just increase the budget to £300? But I know how I am, and I know if that is the case, or should I say if that was the case and we increased the budget budget to £300, what you'll find is that in the next month our food bill comes in at £400, because that's just what always happens. Like, when the budget is tight, I end up overspending, but then if I make the budget bigger, I'm probably going to overspend again. So yeah, for now we're probably going to leave it at £200, but stay tuned for the May budget walkthrough video and you'll see if that actually ends up being what we do. But just know that, yeah, in the month of April, groceries, we overspent by £88.45, and takeaways, we actually came in under budget by a whole 13 pence. Like, yes, wow, woohoo, mocking. But no, yeah, we came in under for takeaways, and that was just like a couple of trips to McDonald's. We didn't actually do anything much when it came to takeaways. So our total came in at £88.32 over budget, which isn't great, and it's going to get worse. It actually gets a lot worse. Moving on to home category, and we have our mortgage, which is the same price every single month, and then we had our mortgage overpayment, which was £441.68 for the month of April, and then council tax was budgeted £132, but it actually came in over at £138.85. So the council tax has gone up, and that's something that goes up every single year. Every single year you get a nice letter from the councils to say, we're charging you more money for a rubbish service. Well, no, let me not be rude, it's not a rubbish service, but I mean, it's not the greatest, and yeah, they don't need to increase the price like that, but they do, and there's nothing we can do about it. We have to pay that bill. So in total, our home category came in slightly over budget by £6.35. So far, the two categories, we've gone over on both of them. So you can see where this is going and the trend that actually occurred in the April budget. But moving on to utilities, and we had our water bill that came out £50.15. It's a fixed cost, and it's the same price every single month, so that doesn't change. Electricity, we budgeted 40, and gas, we budgeted 70. And we did a slight difference in payment, so we did 30 on electricity and 80 on gas. But the £10 difference either way didn't make a difference to the bottom line. As you can see, the total came in at, yeah, bang on the money, £160.15. Moving on to giving, and if you haven't watched any of my budgeting videos before, you might be thinking, why is the giving black? But that is something that we do like to do on a regular basis, but it's something that we don't like to disclose the exact amounts just yet. But yeah, just know that giving is something that we do believe in, and it's something that we do on a regular basis. So that's been blocked out there. And then we've got subscriptions as the next category that's up, and we had TV license. That was the same price, £13.37. It's the same price every single month. Nothing changes there. Mobile phone, we've got my husband's mobile phone bill. We budgeted £35, and it came in slightly over budget by 85p. I don't know what that was about. That's probably, maybe he sent a picture message or something that was outside of his data allowance. And then with my mobile phone, one of my lovely subscribers, I think her name was Lisa actually, she pointed out the fact that I didn't amend my budget for my phone category, because I made that mistake in March, and I basically made the same mistake again in April, putting my phone bill down as £30 when it's actually £40. It's been £40 for a while now. I just never made allowances for it in the budget. So shout out to that lovely subscriber that actually picked up on my error. I wish I picked up on it sooner, but I didn't notice it until I was editing the video. I was like, oh my gosh, Tolu, you didn't amend your phone bill. So I knew straight away that my phone bill was going to end up coming in over budget, and it did. So obviously my phone bill was actually supposed to be £40 and not the £30 that I allocated, which meant that I came in £10 over budget. Moving on to internet, that's the same price every single month, that's £26. And then we've got Canva. My subscription came in slightly under budget again by £1.39p, and I've mentioned before about the fact that Canva's paid in dollars, so depending on the exchange rate it can be higher or lower than what I put in the budget, and I've noticed so far this year it's always been lower than what I put in the budget. So what I'll probably do maybe in the May budget is actually adjust that and amend that so that it's maybe £10, so that the difference isn't as much. I mean, it's only £1 in the grander scheme of things, but still it would be better to be more accurate with the budget. And then Google Drive, that was £1.59 as budgeted. Moving on, we have transport. And transport, oh my gosh, okay, so this is where things went really left. So we've got petrol. First of all, I budgeted £64, and that came in at £118.07. So yeah, that was 84% higher than budgeted for, so that was a lot more. But I can explain, there was a reason for this. Like in the month of April, we did a lot more driving than anticipated. So one thing I didn't think about or consider when doing the budget for the month of April was the fact that it was going to be holidays for the children. So for 2 of those weeks they weren't in school, and we did quite a lot of activities with them. We went away we went to go and see family as well, and yeah, there was a lot of driving involved in the month of April, which we didn't actually consider when we were doing the budget. I just kind of did the numbers as I've been doing them for the past few months, not factoring into the equation the fact that the kids are going to be off school and I was going to be driving a lot more and long distance as well. So yeah, petrol came in a lot over budget. And then moving on, we have maintenance, and we didn't budget anything and didn't have to pay for anything. Train, that was my husband that took one train trip. Parking, our budget is £6 and it came in at £6 2p. I don't even know what that 2p is about, because I'm pretty sure it was £6, but maybe that was a typo on the spreadsheet. But for now, we've got it down as £6 2p. And then we have a fine, and that fine was mine. I got a parking ticket. I don't know about you, yeah, but I hate getting parking tickets. Like, it's one of my pet peeves. I really hate it. But of late, I feel like they're just after me. I just keep getting parking tickets, and this month I got another one. And this one, when I got it, I even knew when I was getting it. Like, I was driving down this road that I've driven down for the past how many years, fine, peacefully, no issues, and there was a sign on that road that I hadn't seen before, and I was like, is it a new sign or have I just never noticed this sign? I was thinking, oh, surely it must just be a sign that I've never noticed before, because I've been going this way forever, and other cars were going down that same road. But something in me was telling me, Tolly, don't go down this road. But I didn't listen to that voice telling me not to go down that road. And I still drove down that road, thinking in the back of my mind that I shouldn't be driving here, that this is going to get me into trouble. But I still did it anyway. I drove down that road. And then lo and behold, less than a week later, bam, I'm hit with a fine, £130 and £65 if I pay it straight away. So yeah, that's what that was about. I got that fine and I had to pay it, and it really upset me. But you live and you learn. Listen to that gut instinct. When something's telling you don't do it, because yeah, you can end up getting yourself into trouble like I did, and having to pay an unnecessary parking fine. As if my budget wasn't already messed up enough in the month of April, this fine came to come and just mess things up even further. So yeah, not good at all. But we move. So looking at the total, we came in over budget by £122.39, which is actually nuts when you think about the fact that in the month of March, we came in over budget by £100 overall. And this is just one category and I've gone over by £100. So can you just imagine what the actual total overspend is for the month of April? In fact, pause this video and guess in the comment section below. Let me know how much you think I've overspent in total before watching this video to the end. And let me see if you're close to how much you think we went over budget by in the month of April. Moving on to fun and entertainment. And with the fun and entertainment, what we do is when we allocate that money just gets sent to the different accounts. So my fun money goes to my spending account, and the kids goes to their kids account, and my husband's goes to his. So that money's distributed and never comes back to the budget, which is why it's always the exact amount. So it's not a case of, oh, I didn't spend my money this month, that money goes back into the pot. No, if you don't spend it, you can save it and do what you like with it, which is what we tend to do. So yeah, the fun and entertainment is always pretty much bang on the money, because when we do overspend, it doesn't ever come under this category. We tend to put it in miscellaneous, or it might go to groceries, or it might just go to another category. But in terms of fun and entertainment, it is as we budgeted it to be. Moving on to insurance, and the only insurance we have on here at the moment is our life insurance. And I've mentioned in previous videos the fact that car insurance and home insurance are insurances that we pay annually. But eventually we're probably going to have to make it a monthly subscription until we can get enough of a pot aside as a sinking fund to pay for the annual subscription again. Because what we were supposed to be doing is putting money away on a monthly basis to build up that pot, so that in September, when they're both up for renewal, we can just do another annual membership. But because of the way our finances have been over the last 8 to 10 months, that hasn't been possible. We haven't been able to put as much as we would want to towards those sinking funds. So what that's probably going to mean is that come September, it's probably going to become a monthly subscription, or monthly payment should I say. But then eventually, once we've saved up enough, we can then just pay for it annually. So that's the plan anyway. Let's see how things go. But for now, I've kept those categories on there, and the only one we're currently paying monthly is life insurance, and that is £46.74. So moving on, we have childcare. And now childcare is something that I said that was going to be coming up in the month of May. So I said in the month of May, I was going to be putting my youngest son into nursery. Now that is something that we still want to do, but it's probably not going to be at the beginning of May. It might end up being in September, because we've kind of been trying to weigh up the pros and cons of putting him in now versus waiting on to September when the kids go back to school. Because I'm like, if I put him in now, I'm going to be paying for nursery over the summer holidays when the other children are off school, and it makes sense for him to be off with them. But with nursery, it's all year round. So I'm still trying to decide whether it's worth putting him sending him now or just kind of waiting on to September. So I've kept childcare on then because it is going to come up as an expense eventually, but for now there's nothing on there. So yeah, watch this space and let's see how this changes and evolves over time. So then moving on, we had miscellaneous, and this is where it really went left. So home expenses, there were none. Subscriptions, there were none. Car expenses, there were none. Work experiences, work expenses, my husband had one. And then kids expenses, this is where it went really bad, guys. And this is where I overspent. And let me just explain what happened. So in the month of April, late April, one of my sons turned 2, and at the beginning of May, so basically with April's pay, was my second son's birthday. Both of their birthdays are like 6 days apart, and whilst we did have a sinking fund set aside for their birthdays, that sinking fund got spent and then some. £206 worth extra on top of the sinking funds was spent on their birthdays this year. And the reason I did that was because of mum guilt. My son turned 1 last year at the beginning of lockdown, and then now he turned 2 again this year, and again another lockdown birthday. So I haven't been able to celebrate it and mark it the way I would want to with family and friends, and yeah, have the big celebration. If I compare my first son's birthday to my third son's birthday, it is just so different. And in my head I'm thinking, oh, when he grows up, my third son that is, he's gonna grow up thinking, oh, it's because I'm the last boy that you're treating me like this, and like the oldest one is the favorite one because he had the big massive birthday party and had all the fun and had all the family and friends around and had really big celebration and got loads of gifts. So in my head I'm thinking, I don't want him to grow up thinking that, you know, he was the least favourite, which is why he got no celebration for his first birthday. I'm sure in the future we'll be talking about the pandemic and the impact it had, but as a child he's probably not going to understand the connection. Like, okay, yeah, sure, there was a pandemic and there was lockdown and all this stuff, but he's not really going to understand what it actually meant in reality. So it's like, those are the kind of things anyway that were going through my head at the time, and that's why I was just spending recklessly, and I was just buying him all these gifts thinking, okay, even if he can't have all the family and friends around and can't have a really nice party, at least he can have loads and loads of nice gifts. And that's what I focused on. I mean, he turned 2 for crying out loud. It wasn't even that deep in the grand scheme of things. I can say that now, a couple of weeks later, when I'm looking at my bank balance thinking, Tolly, what was you doing? But at the time I just was literally overcompensating, and yeah, that's what happened there. So yeah, that was really bad on my part and goes against everything I preach on my channel and preach to people. But at the same time, I'm only human. I'm a mum, and I have emotions and I have feelings, and I did feel really bad for him that he didn't get to have a birthday party again, or like any kind of birthday celebration. So he had really nice gifts and he really did have a nice birthday, and I probably did not even need to spend half as much as I did actually spend on his birthday, because he had an amazing time regardless. And even all those gifts that we spent how much money on, ask me how much of it he's actually playing with now. Like, yeah, but you live and you learn, and hopefully next year I won't make that mistake again. So yeah, next year I'm going to stick to that sinking fund budget for the birthdays, and I'm not going over it. But in the month of April, your girl messed up. She messed up big time and overspent by £206.84. But that was the worst part of it, to be honest. It gets a bit, no, it doesn't get better, but it doesn't get much worse than it was just here. So let's move on to the next category. We have debt. That's a tax bill that has to be paid every month up until the end of the year for HMRC. And then moving on, we've got sinking fund, emergency fund, and Vanguard. The same amount was split between all of those different savings pots, and that went as planned, not over, not under, because that's something we allocate at the start of the month. So there's never any variation in those numbers. It just is what we say it's going to be at the beginning of the month. I just wish every other budget category was just like this, like what I say I'm going to do and what I do is the same. But moving forward in the month of May, that is actually going to be the case, and I'm quite confident in what I'm saying because of a conversation I actually had with my husband a few days ago, or yeah, it was late last week actually, when we were doing the budget. It's been a while since we actually closed the budget and created the budget, but like I was saying earlier about all the footage being crap and having to re-record it, that's why we're so many days into the month of May, and I'm only now sharing this video update with you on the closing budget for April. But one thing we did actually sit down and discuss when we were doing our April budget review was that, why does this keep happening? Like, we have this budget, why are we going so far over the budget? And one thing we realised is that my husband gets paid on a weekly basis, so his money is very varied, very variable. Like, it varies on a month-to-month basis. So not month-to-month even, that would be better. It's a week-to-week basis. So every week his income changes, and what happens is he gets paid every Friday. So what was happening up until now is that he gets paid every Friday into that same pot where we budget the money from. So it's like we have the budget sheet, we know exactly how much we've earned for that much and how much we're going to spend, but then every week basically that pot gets gets topped up. So even though the money's going down based on the budget and we know we spent over in certain categories, because we know that there's money coming in on Friday, it kind of balances it out, which is why we don't end up in overdraft or we don't end up getting into debt. We just kind of use the money that's going to go towards the next month. But that cycle keeps repeating itself, and as you can see, it's getting out of control now. So if I actually scroll to the end and show you, our overspend for the month of April was £443.37. That is ridiculous. That's too far. We've gone too far. Like, we've gone too far in terms of overspending on the budget, because £443 is a lot of money, and that money could definitely be put to such good use in the month of May. But because we've done this overspend, it means now in the month of May we have £443 less to play with. So all of that enjoyment that we were doing in April, me thinking that I need to buy my son the world, it just means that in the month of May we have less money to do the things that we want to do and put towards our financial goals and stuff like that. So anyway, back to the conversation I was having with my husband. We're like, okay, what can we do to kind of fix this and stop this from being a continuous repetitive cycle? And he was saying, do you know what, actually what I'm going to start doing now is every week when I get paid, putting that money into a separate savings account, so that in the current account, the money that we have in the current account is just the money that's left from the money we've budgeted for the month, so that it accurately matches up to what we've budgeted for, as opposed to having this extra money that's coming to top up the pot and kind of cover up the fact that we're messing up and not keeping on top of our numbers. So that's something that we've decided to implement for the month of May. So now moving forward, every Friday when he gets paid, that money is going to be separated to another account, so that when we see how much we have available in the current account, it actually reflects what's left. And in this way, Tolu can't be like, oh, I want to quickly buy this for the boys or buy this. No, you're going to manage what's left in that account, and when that money's finished, we're just going to be staring at each other's faces and waiting until the next month when we can start spending again. So that's the plan anyway for the month of May. I'll talk more about it in my May budget walkthrough video, which will be coming out after this. But that was literally how my April went. So it was a sham. It was a shambolic, if I'm honest, but I'm definitely going to do better in the month of May. Like, watch this space and stay subscribed, and you're going to see me go from overspending by £400 to even coming in under budget. Wouldn't that be something, to actually come in under budget for once, as opposed to always overspending? That's where I'm trying to get to, and that's the goal. But yeah, that was literally it for this video, guys. I just wanted to give you an update on how my April went. I wanted to confess my sins and show you guys how I messed up and tell you how I'm going to fix it for the month of May. So if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, definitely do me a favor and subscribe to my channel and give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and I will see you on my next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.